It concerns a country in which Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Mitt Romney have direct financial interest.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Rich Little Jet here, and Marge Trainwreck Greene truly earned her nickname today, pushing Russian propaganda and serving as a Kremlin spokesperson as they commit war crimes against Ukraine. Look, folks, I know she's a moron. I know she's about as intelligent as a bag of hammers. I know that she is only out for headlines, but I also know that that is dangerous. She's being called a useful idiot for Putin. Sad. But yes, that is entirely accurate. Nobody this stupid and useless could possibly be anything but a blight on our own society. But of course, like most of the GQP, Marge has fully submitted to Putin propaganda and now speaks words no different than the talking heads of Russian state TV.
If we truly care about suffering and death on our television screens, we cannot fund more of it by sending money and weaponry to Ukraine to fight a war they cannot possibly win. The only effect of more arms and more money from America will be to prolong the war and magnify human suffering. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be responsible for creating even more refugees and orphans in an already traumatized and dysfunctional world.
The GQP have been brewing a hot romance with Putin for quite some time now, forsaking everything fundamentally American in favor of visions of their own power grab. The Ronald Reagan Republicans are long gone. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the late president is rolling around his grave after the GQP abandoned America to side with Russia, something once thought inconceivable. Folks, that's the story of the birth of the GQP, whose founding principle is fascism and whose prime directive is to destroy American democracy. Now, Marge doesn't have the brains enough to be anything more than a pawn in the game, but she knows her lane. Trainwreck Greene is the normalizer, an important ingredient in any long-term propaganda narrative. Because a segment of our population is too stupid to comprehend that there is an objective discipline for analyzing arguments, which is called logic, they're clueless in understanding what is true and what is false. They simply see two sides of an argument, and whichever side holds them hostage by their hatred, that's the side that they choose as right, no matter how dumb, senseless, and contradictory the argument actually is. Welcome to the world where people are willing to hand their democracy over to a freaking moron.
What it is that Satan's controlling the church. The church is not doing its job.
Of course, it's Satan who's controlling the Catholic Church. Yes, he's behind the desk like, sending his minions out to do this and do that.
What they're doing by saying, oh, we have to love these people and take care of these migrants and love one another. This is loving one another.
Oh, guys, this woman is out of her mind.
Means destroying our laws. It means completely perverting what our Constitution says. It means taking unreal advantage of the American taxpayer. Loving one another is the true meaning of loving one another, and loving others means that you also have to uphold the law. You have to uphold the rules.
Okay, first of all, let's start when she says that loving one another means upholding the law of the land. And it does say that in the Bible. It says that you give to God what is God and give to Caesar's what is Caesar's. Now, ironically, she says this, right? Oh, you mean upholding the law the same way that you continue to this day to admit that Trump lost, right? Because we see you all the time condemn Trump for the big lie. Oh, you mean how we caught you red-handed with your text saying that we should, implement martial law to keep Donald Trump in office. Oh, that must be what you mean by uphold the law. You see, because this is what it is. It's my law. Uphold my law. God is on my side, and anything that is not on my side can't be God. Simple as that. It's really just that black and white.
What it is that Satan's controlling the church. The church is not doing its job. And it's not adhering to the teachings of Christ. And it's not adhering to what the Word of God says we're supposed to do.
And then, of course, it's Satan who's controlling the Catholic Church. Yes, he's behind the desk like, sending his minions out to do this and do that. But of course, but it's not just that. It's about immigration. It's about migration. That's what Satan, he's in the cabal for migration, right? Because this is one of the quotes that Marjorie Taylor Greene said in this interview.
Well, here's what we should be doing. We should hold those countries accountable. Oh, I'm sorry, Guatemala, you're not getting a check this year because you have sent X number of thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of people to illegally invade our country as if they're an army. They may not have guns, but they're the numbers of a regiment, of an army. We won't be able to send you your foreign aid until you bring your people back.
Yeah, that's what we have to do. Just, because they're just sending these people over here just, for the sake of it. They're just, sending them here in droves to ruin us. That's all it's about. They're so simple-minded. Like, are you serious? And this woman is a congresswoman.
Let's let Jimmy Kimmel explain this one.
So I made a joke. I said, where is Will Smith when you need him? After she saw it, she tweeted, ABC contacts my employer. This threat of violence against me by Jimmy Kimmel has been filed with the Capitol Police.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is upset. She has pulled the ultimate Karen. She has called the Capitol Police on Jimmy Kimmel for telling a joke. That's right. A right-winger is upset over a joke. Sounds a little snowflake to me. Marjorie Taylor Greene called the Capitol Police on Jimmy Kimmel for telling a joke. That's right, a joke. Like when the Republicans say something horrible about somebody or some group and then they say, oh, it was just a joke. Yeah, except this actually was a joke, told by a comedian on a late night show in a comedy monologue. That's how we all recognized it was a joke. But because many Republicans don't have a sense of humor, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene missed that. So anyway, what happened was 3 senators voted to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. And of course, Marjorie said they must be pro-pedophile because a lot of Republicans are kind of hooked onto this pedophile thing. So Jimmy Kimmel, in response to her tweet, said, where's Will Smith when we need him? It was a joke. It was right there. You got to take it. No, she didn't take it. She called the cops. The same Capitol Police that she refused to vote for a congressional gold medal for their action in protecting congresspeople during the insurrection, which she may or may not have been a part of. Wow, this is getting good. I almost feel like a Republican conspiracy theorist with layers and layers. I got to join QAnon. Anyway, more importantly, she disturbed the Gazpacho Police with her little joke problem. That's right, the Gazpacho Police. You remember when she said that? Nancy Pelosi has the Gazpacho Police watching us. Well, these police are busy making soup, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and they don't have time for you whining.
She's trolling, but it's just one more, seditious snowflake for that particular file. This is free speech for me, but not for thee. This is when you elevate trolls, all you're going to do is get this kind of a food fight, and it's of course it's pathetic and hypocritical. But then it's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Let's not even talk about the hypocrisy of Marjorie Taylor Greene calling the police on somebody for saying something and then whining about herself being picked on for free speech when she, does a speech with a white nationalist group. Let's not even talk about her attacking ABC. Maybe it's to, impress Donald Trump, who, as you remember, used to always attack NBC for telling jokes. Here's the thing about Marjorie Taylor Greene and this attack. Some cop for the congressional police had to read it, had to take the report. They had to waste their time with this nonsense, and they weren't allowed to say what they were thinking. I'm sorry, Ms. Greene, we have real work to do. Unlike you, who sits around tweeting when you're supposed to be working as a congresswoman, we actually have things to do. We don't want to be bothered. Why don't you call Karen and tell her